UFC 303, Alex Pereira versus Jiri Prochazka 2 just ended, and this is going to be my full card post-fight. I've already done a breakdown post-fight for the main event solely. I'll link that down in the description, but we're going to go through every fight on the card. I'm going to give you my reaction and breakdown. Starting off with the first fight of the night, Vinicius Oliveira versus Ricky Simón. Vinicius Oliveira wins via unanimous decision. This was a very bizarre fight to me. I know maybe if you don't really know these guys that well, it's not that bizarre, but this was very, very bizarre to me. Ricky Simón looked like absolute dog shit to the point it felt like he threw the fight. It was that bad. First round, getting touched up on the feet, looking for slow and sloppy takedowns. Second round, getting beat up, looking for slow and sloppy takedowns. Checks a kick and hurts Oliveira bad. Oliveira stumbles backwards. He can't really walk. And Simón does nothing. It's like with 45, 30 seconds to go, Ricky Simón just stares at him. Doesn't do nothing. I don't think he threw a single shot after the leg kick check. Could have easily won the round. Could have stole the round. Could have maybe gotten a finish. Vinicius Oliveira couldn't walk. And Ricky Simón just stared at him. Third round, Oliveira had a hurt leg, but Simón's not throwing any kicks. Oliveira's kind of switching stances a little bit and kind of walking him down like the legs are covered a little bit. Simón's not throwing any kicks, not shooting any takedowns. I mean, it was crazy. And throughout the fight, and I think also in the third round, Simón's shooting takedowns from miles away. Vinicius Oliveira got out-grappled badly by, I forgot his first name, but Sopai in his last fight. Simón's taking down Mario Batista, taking down Song Yadong. Granted, he didn't win those fights. He never really even got close. I mean, he was shooting from miles away, the sloppiest takedowns I've ever seen. He landed. He had a little bit of success on the feet, but Oliveira was boxing him up, landing the kicks, chopping the legs. Had a weird, I don't even know what you call it. There's a name for it, but it's almost 4 a.m. My mind has left me right now. But like a behind the, I don't know, some weird type of leg kick. And he threw that at the end of the third round, and then a nasty uppercut that stung Ricky Simón. Looked very diverse on the feet. Looked super confident. Was shucking off takedowns with ease. If he did get taken down, he never really got controlled. I'm trying to remember if he got taken down. He might have got taken down up against the fence like once, worked his way back up, but maybe I'm forgetting. Yeah, I mean, it was Oliveira defending the takedowns. If he did get taken down, working back to the feet. I don't remember Ricky Simón ever doing any damage on the ground. So he might have gotten a takedown or two, but literally never controlled him for any meaningful period of time. Literally did no damage. And it was Oliveira just dicing him up on the feet. And it was a clear win for Vinicius Oliveira. I was shocked. I thought Ricky Simón was definitely going to win. So Ricky Simón is either falling off a cliff or he threw this fight. I don't know what it is, but great win for Vinicius Oliveira. Up on the card, Rei Tsuruya versus Carlos Hernandez. Fun fight. I think people are going to complain about this matchup. Love the fight. Rei Tsuruya won via unanimous decision. I don't remember what the scorecards were. I actually had it 29-28. Basically, this entire fight was Tsuruya out-grappling him, taking him down, scrambling, looking for submissions. Did it in the first round, did it in the second round. Had full mount a couple times. Was looking for the Kimura. Had the crucifix at one point. Looking for a knee bar. I believe both of those submission attempts were in the first round. Looking for a twister in the first round as well, but just like kind of the beginning stages of a twister. Second round, took him down early. There was crazy scrambles. Hernandez was trying to get up, but Tsuruya was just far better on the ground. Second round, there was a concerted effort for a twister for Tsuruya. Did some damage, had a crucifix, was looking for subs the entire second round. Had some good ground and pound in the second round, some nasty elbows. And then the third round, Tsuruya was kind of exhausted. Looked for a takedown, ended up on bottom, controlled a bit, and Hernandez didn't really do any damage. At some point, Hernandez got cut on the eyebrow. I don't know if that happened like on the takedown or when that happened, or if it was an elbow from the bottom. I never figured out where it was from, and I didn't go back and rewatch it. Tsuruya got up. There was some clinch work. Third round, literally nothing happened. So because of the control time, I gave Hernandez the third round. But it's not like, oh yeah, he did this and that's why he won. No, he just had a little bit of control time off a failed takedown from Tsuruya. So Tsuruya gets it done. Out grappled him the majority of the fight. Got tired. Gas tank's a little bit of a question, but Hernandez, I mean, good submission defense. Defended the twister. At one point in the second round, I thought Tsuruya was going to get that twister, and I love the twister. So I was super excited on my live stream for the twister. But Hernandez defended well, scrambled out, avoided the submission attempts, avoided the knee bars, avoided the, every submission attempt that he offered. I think Also first round Kimura as well. So yeah, Hernandez didn't have what it takes to go to the ground with Tsuruya and got out grappled. Moving up. No. Next fight on the card. Martin Buday versus Andrei Arlovski. Supposedly, this is Andrei Arlovski's last fight. Hell yeah, brother. I can't watch another Andrei Arlovski fight. Martin Buday won. To be honest, I don't know who won. This was the most dog shit fight I've ever seen. I just want to scream ill. It was a split decision win for Buday. To be honest, when I wasn't sleeping, I thought Arlovski probably won. This was a clinch fest nonstop. Every single round was just nonstop clinching, no real damage. I thought Arlovski, I'm trying to think, I think it was 2 and 3 I had for Arlovski, but I was sleeping for half of that. So, absolutely disgusting, disturbing. 34 and 24 now for Arlovski, total career resume. And, yeah, I mean, this was not a good look. Not a good look. Supposedly it's his last fight. I just want to scream ooh and be done with it. But Andrei's been around for a while. I'll never forget when he was actually exciting. Remember the Travis Brown fight, UFC 187, I believe it was. Great fight. He was close to a title shot at that point. Then he had to fight Stipe Miocic, which was a roadblock for him. But yeah, Andrei's been around for a while. He's 45 years old, doesn't need to fight anymore. I mean, probably does for money, but he shouldn't be fighting anymore. It's too slow. Buday should be ashamed of himself. You know, you're an elite fighter, an elite athlete, supposedly, and you're coming in built like a bag of milk. I mean, there's no reason that I should have a better physique than some of these UFC fighters. Absolutely not. And then to fight like shit against Andrei Arlovski, even the commentary team was shitting on him like, it's only up from here, Buday. So if you're struggling with this matchup, it's only up from here. So Buday's an embarrassment. He wins, though, against Andrei Arlovski. Next fight, Jillian Robertson versus Michelle Waterson-Gomez. Jillian Robertson beat the dog shit out of Gomez. Took her down every single round. Dominated her. Full mount, looking for submission. Crucifix, full mount elbows. First and second round, you could arguably do a 10-8 for Michelle Waterson. Yeah, right. For Jillian Robertson. Third round was a little bit closer. Waterson looked for a takedown in the third round on her corner's advice. And Robertson almost found a guillotine there, but didn't. Ended up on top. She dominated every single round. Waterson had nothing for her on the ground at all. Clear win for Robertson. One thing I will say about this fight. First off, I want to see Jillian Robertson versus Mackenzie Dern. I think that's a phenomenal matchup. So book that next. Michelle Waterson retires in the cage. About damn time. I hope she didn't bring her kids again. Does she have a fetish of having her kids watch her get the shit kicked out of her? She got brutalized in this fight. She was swollen up bad. She was smashed up bad. She retires in the cage in her late 30s. I mean, she used to be good at one point in time. But one thing I will say is shout out to the UFC. You know, everyone's like, Joey, you complain about the UFC. You complain about Dana. Look, I'm just giving my honest feelings. What do you guys want me to do, lie to you? Shout out to the UFC. They need to do more of this. I love that they gave Michelle Waterson-Gomez a little send-off, a little package, retirement package like they did Robbie Lawler. I understand she's not a big name. I understand she was never a champion. But people who stick around in your organization for literally years deserve some recognition. Cough, cough, Mike Goldberg. What about Mike Goldberg? Give him some recognition back in the day. So I'm happy they gave Michelle Waterson some recognition for retiring, being in the UFC for such a long time. Let me actually check how long she's been in the UFC, because she's been in the UFC for a long time. She's been in the UFC since 2015. So damn near 10 years. Fought in Invicta for a while. I'm glad they played that little emotional package. Michelle Waterson was crying. And, I mean, she got the shit beat out. It's time for her to retire. She's 18 and 13 overall. Great win from Jillian Robertson. Can't wait to see her next fight. That's a little bit exaggeratory. But if it's Mackenzie Dern, I love that matchup. I'd love to see how the jiu-jitsu styles clash and the submission specialists fight each other and see if they end up striking. And when it was on the feet, it was very limited time on the feet. Robertson did well on the feet, okay? It's not like she got outstruck on the feet. I think Gomez landed like one front kick, maybe the beginning of the second round, I want to say. Outside of that, Waterson had absolutely nothing. Next fight on the card, we have Payton Talbott versus Ghemmouri. Holy shit. Payton Talbott absolutely wrecked him. Nasty right hand. Wanted to do a walk-off. Ghemmouri was looking all confused on the ground. Head snapped back and hit the canvas. I'm pretty sure that was this KO, unless I'm thinking about... I mean, there was a couple KOs, like back-to-back. But I'm pretty sure it was this one. Referee doesn't jump in. So Payton Talbott's like, okay, got to follow him down. Follows him down, starts smashing him with ground and pound. Referee finally jumps in. Great win for Payton Talbott. I know it's not against the best level of opposition, okay? I understand Ghemmouri isn't elite, but Payton Talbott just joined the UFC. He's a young guy. They got to build him up a bit, like they do with, Bo Nickel, throwing him bum after bum after bum. This is a good win. Cameron Simon actually was probably a better win, in my opinion. He beat the dog shit out of him. Big card, too. He's on a big card. They're definitely trying to promote him. He's saying, he wants to fight Adrian Yanez next. I think that's a great matchup, and I'm picking Payton Talbott in that matchup. I am actually high on Talbott. His weakness is definitely his grappling. We didn't get to see Ghemmouri shoot for any takedowns in this fight, so I don't think we'll see Yanez shooting on any takedowns. That'll be a great matchup. I think Talbott's going to starch him. Remembering Rob Font and his pillow hands putting Yanez away, I think Talbott puts him away. And that propels him to a top 15 matchup. I think Payton Talbott, I'm not going to – there's people acting like he's a top bantamweight already. Let's pump the brakes on that. That's a little bit premature. That's overrating him massively. But the fact that he's fighting some of these guys and he's starching them out, I think a good step up is Adrian Yanez. I think that's a perfect call out. DC's like, yeah, I need to teach this guy how to work on the mic and cut a promo. DC, you were never good on the mic, you idiot. And Payton Talbott, why are you trying to turn this into WWE? Payton Talbott was perfect on the mic, calling out Yanez. Perfect performance, starched him out. It lasted 19 seconds. And it could have lasted like 10 if the ref would have jumped in right away. So, great win from Payton Talbott. Brutal KO in the first round. Next fight, speaking of brutal KOs, next fight on the card, we have Jean Silva versus Charles Jourdain. Jean Silva gets a second round KO with a filthy uppercut. First round, Jean Silva winning, walking Jourdain down, feinting. Jourdain's worried, dropped him with a two-piece at some point, landed some ground and pound, but then let him back up. Charles Jourdain was like desperation shooting at the end of the first round, maybe even got a takedown briefly, I think he did. Then the second round, Jourdain got a takedown, but Jean Silva gets right back to his feet, starts landing nasty elbows to the body. And I really think the elbows to the body broke Charles Jourdain because he was, I remember, I think it was Robbie Lawler, Johnny Hendricks too. And I think it was in the fifth round. You had Johnny Hendricks in on a desperation takedown. If you remember this, let me know down in the comments. And I'll never forget, it was the first time I had watched a fight, and I'm like, this motherfucker, Robbie Lawler's really trying to hurt this guy. He wants to break his ribs. And Robbie Lawler was leaning over and just slamming elbows to the ribs as hard as he could as he's stuffing a takedown. And it was like, damn, this is really the first time I'm watching the guy. And he wants to break his bones. And that's the type of elbows that Jean Silva was throwing. And I thought it broke Jourdain. Jourdain was already playing a guessing game. He was nervous as hell. Every feint he was biting on. He breaks from the body shots. The body shots is what got him off of him. And I also think Silva on a couple of the takedowns was landing good elbows to the side of the head. I don't want to forget that. And then as he breaks from the elbows to the body, Jean Silva throws a filthy uppercut, drops Charles Jourdain, and walks off. Brutal KO. Great win for Jean Silva against a quality opponent in Charles Jourdain. Charles Jourdain isn't like a scrub, He's not elite, but he's not a scrub at all. So great win for Jean Silva. And I just really think that Charles Jourdain was broken after the first round. He got hurt in the first round. He was scared to death of the striking of Silva the entire rest of the fight. Was biting on feints heavily. Like he was like, oh no. At some points when Jean Silva was throwing or was feinting. And then when he did throw, Charles Jourdain was running for his life. Great win from Jean Silva. Interesting character. Interesting post-fight. He missed weight, though, man. He missed weight, so it kind of shits on the win. So either way, he gets it done. He needs to make weight next time. Apparently, he fell down a flight of stairs, and that's why he couldn't make weight. I didn't understand the whole story in its entirety, but he's got to make weight. It kind of diminishes the win a little bit against Charles Jourdain, but still phenomenal performance. And Charles Jourdain's never been finished. So great win for Jean Silva. Next fight on the card, we have Andre Fili versus Cub Swanson. Andre Fili wins via split decision. I scored it for Andre Fili. First round, Cub was like pressing really heavily, and Fili was just landing the better shots, landing some good kicks, stinging Cub Swanson. Cub was landing some shots, but it was clearly Fili was winning the first round. Second round, Fili started mixing in the grappling, found a takedown, did nothing with it. Cub got back up, clipped up Fili like one time where it kind of stung Fili, and he really started kind of running away. There was a decent amount of clinching. As Cub would like come in, Fili would clinch with him, and Fili was stronger in the clinch. Second round was close, but I had Cub. I thought he tagged him with the better shots. like it was Cub mostly to like the last minute, and then Fili stung him with a couple good counters. And then the third round was really close. Cub was really walking him down, looking for shots, had some moments, but Fili had a takedown. Didn't do much with it, and then was controlling him in the clinch, doing some knees to the body in the clinch. And then like the last maybe minute and a half was landing some solid counters. It was close. Very, very close. I have no problem if you want to say Cub 2 and 3. Fili clearly won 1. 2 was up for debate, but I thought it was pretty surely Cub. Third round I thought was razor close. Have no problem if you go either way, but I just thought Fili's counters in like the last minute of the third round is really what won him this fight. I'll tell you this. Prime Cub, it's sad, man. These guys get old. Prime Cub absolutely destroys Andre Fili. Even Fili in his prime. I know he's getting into his late 30s now. It's making me feel old. But Cub he's not as fast as he once was. He's not as strong as he once was. He was walking him down. If he had the speed he had 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, he would have beat Andre Fili easily. But Fili was able to incorporate the clinch, able to mix in the grappling, and that's what won him this fight, to be quite honest. And the counters. The counters are what won him the fight. He looked exhausted from running backwards, but Fili gets the split decision. I have no problem with it. Next fight on the card. Featured prelim. Joe Body Bags Pyfer versus Marc-Andre Barriault. Pyfer chopping the legs early and often. Right hand hurts him. Marc-Andre Barriault's kind of like shying away and moving away. Another right hand. Lands on the back of the head. Slumps out Marc-Andre Barriault. As he's falling, Pyfer lands another shot. Face plants. Ref jumps in. Marc-Andre Barriault is flat on the mat, sniffing the mat, and then pops up to like a doggy-style position. It was sad, man. He was hurt badly. Pyfer wrecked him. And this was a great performance from Pyfer against a legit opponent, a decent opponent. Good bounce back after losing to Jack Hermanson. Pyfer acting like he won a title. And honestly, I wouldn't even mind that. I know Pyfer's got a chip on his shoulder. He's a salty man. The call out afterwards. If you didn't watch this and you have no idea what I'm about to say and you missed this, Joe Pyfer gets on the mic. Says, yeah, give me Paul Craig in February. What? First off, why February? And then he says, oh, never mind, fall. So I don't know. Pyfer clearly, I think he has rocks for brains, but why are you calling out the dead body of Paul Craig, man? Why are we calling out the dead body of Paul Craig? Leave that man alone. Let him rest in peace. That's an embarrassing call out. That's as bad as Grant Dawson begging for Tony Ferguson. So the call out ruined the night for Joe Pyfer, but outside of that, great win. Good bounce back against a decent opponent. It's not like they gave him a straight up scrub, but I expected him to go out there and KO Marc-Andre Barriault. I thought it would take a little bit longer. Showed great leg kicks. I don't think Barriault landed a single shot in the entire fight. So Pyfer should get a quick turnaround, but who wants to see him fight Paul Craig? Let's see. Who could he fight in the division right now? Yeah, Paul Craig isn't ranked. Jack Hermanson's ranked number 9. Who could he fight? I wouldn't mind seeing him against Anthony Hernandez. The UFC wants to push him. I wouldn't mind seeing him fight Anthony Hernandez. But I guess if he's going to not get a ranked opponent, which I don't think he necessarily deserves a ranked opponent, but the rankings don't matter, I would love to see him tested again. He did decent against Jack Hermanson. I wouldn't mind seeing that Fluffy Hernandez fight. But whatever fight they give him, I'm sure the UFC probably won't give him as in Hernandez, because I think they want to build him up some more. So they'll probably will give him the dead carcass of Paul Craig. Just wheel him out in a casket at this point. Let him fight him at his viewing. So, yeah, Joe Pyfer gets a KO with the right hand. Lands to the back of the head, though. It was a back of the head KO. If I'm Marc-Andre Barriault, I'm filing an appeal tomorrow. You know? But, yeah, let's move on to the pay-per-view. Opening up the main card, we have Ian Machado Garry versus Michael Venom Page. Ian Machado Garry wins via unanimous decision. Pretty clear win for Ian Machado Garry. Give him the first and third. First round, man, I thought Garry was just going to blow the doors off Michael Venom Page after that, when that first round happened. He took him down immediately off a head kick, I think it was. Took his back immediately, starts sinking in a deep rear naked choke. Looked like it was going to be over. MVP's fighting the grip, survives. Garry has the body triangle, the body lock, beats him up a bit, clearly wins the round. Second round, Michael Venom Page's round. Now, in the second round, I know people are like, it's clearly Michael Venom Page second round. I think it's pretty clear Michael Venom Page, but it was not a super eventful round. Garry was kind of dealing with the movement of Michael Venom Page. It was kind of throwing him off a bit because the way Page darts in and out and it kind of bounces on his feet. And he's really tricky to get a hold of. And Page was landing some good shots. They looked cleaner in real time than they actually were. If you watched the replay, they were kind of glancing blows. Garry was kind of getting out of the way. There may be one really good, clean shot. Garry rolled for a leg lock at one point. Didn't get it. Clinched up at one point. Landed some knees to the body. But I thought the 5 or 6 shots that Michael Venom Page landed won him the fight. They were much more damaging than anything Garry did in the second round. And then the third round. Garry was like looking for a takedown. Then I felt like he was rolling for a leg lock, but he didn't get that far. And then went to his back, had the body lock from the bottom, which I absolutely hate. So I don't know why he did that. Eventually opens the guard, kind of starts to get a knee on belly. MVP gets up. He wants to get out of there. Garry stands up. Then he immediately, I think he clinched. I'm trying to remember. I think he clinched, then shot in on a takedown. Got MVP down, took his back, but was kind of over the top. Only had one hook in, was using the other foot to kind of other leg to kind of stabilize him. Looking for the rear naked choke. We're talking like 2 minutes left in the round. Can't find the rear naked choke. MVP doesn't even try to shake him over the top. And Garry just throws some ground and pound shots. They weren't like crazy damaging, but he threw a decent amount of them. Maybe I'd say 15 to 25, somewhere around there. And that was the only damage done in the round. I don't think Michael Venom Page landed any shots when he was in guard. Garry landed some elbows from bottom, and then Garry had those shots at the end when he was on the back of MVP. So Garry clearly won. Anybody claiming robbery is just biased and crazy. Now, I know there's people critiquing the performance and saying, Garry looked like shit and blah, 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 and this and that. And the fight was boring. I don't want to hear it. The fight was not the greatest fight. I'm not claiming this was a barn burner. I'm not claiming this was the most exciting fight ever. This was more exciting than Sean Strickland's entire career. And the people that hate Ian Garry are the Sean Strickland fanboys. So this was more exciting than Sean Strickland's entire career. These same people didn't criticize Sean Strickland when he absolutely put on a shit show against Paulo Costa when he squeaked out a split decision. Garry won this fight. I thought it was an exciting fight. I didn't think it was like crazy exciting, but I didn't think it was horrible. Third round wasn't great. But I will say, MVP, his striking, his unique kind of style definitely threw Garry off. Garry did look a little bit lost on the feet. He didn't throw a whole lot of leg kicks. He's talking about leg kicks afterwards. I think that's crazy. If there's enough delusional stuff, I will make a video on Garry. But he's talking about how great his leg kicks are. He threw like one leg kick the entire fight. I don't know why he wasn't chopping the legs of Michael Venom Page. He looked sluggish tonight outside of the first round. And I don't know if it was just the timing, the darting in and out, the style of Michael Venom Page. Michael Venom Page is very tricky. But Garry did what he had to do. If you watch Garry's Cage Warriors fights, I've been telling you guys this for the last week. If you watch Garry's Cage Warrior fights, you knew he was going to out-grapple Michael Venom Page. So unless he got clipped and KO'd, he was going to out-grapple him. So I think Page stuffed off, one takedown in the second round. But Garry, when he needed to, got that third round takedown, took the back. And I don't know why MVP wasn't trying to shake him off. Garry was almost off by the end of the round. So Michael Venom Page kind of looked like shit in the third round. Horrible fight IQ. But you know what's funny? I keep seeing people saying, Garry hype is dead. Garry hype is dead. Every single one of the people saying that picked Michael Venom Page anyway. So apparently there wasn't hype anyway. And you know what I will say? If you think Garry was boring, you think he looked like shit, you think it was horrible, striking, you think it was horrible grappling, Colby Covington ran from this man like his life depended on it. And I know, before you say it, Dana said Colby didn't turn down fight. Colby's turned down multiple fights. We know that to be a fact. Dana's just covering for his fellow Donald Trump sycophant. We know for a fact he turned down Garry. Look at the call-outs, the stipulations. We knew he did not want to fight Ian Machado Garry. Now he's going to say, oh, yeah, he went to a decision with a bum like MVP. I don't want him. Give me Wonder Boy. Wonder Boy's been talking a lot of crap. So while I don't think this was the most pleasing performance, especially considering he's fighting a guy far back in the rankings, he did what he needed to do. And you know what? And this is exactly why I love a fighter like Ian Machado Garry. He says, give me Shavkat. He's like, I want to take Shavkat's L. Now, whether or not he can do that, that's a big question. I would favor Shavkat right now. I think Garry would have a chance, but after this performance, I think Shavkat would win that fight. He said, give me Usman. Give me any of these guys. I'll be the backup for Leon Bilal. I love the confidence rather than hanging out on the sidelines and calling out dead bodies like somebody like Colby Covington, just to reference somebody in the division. So I get it if you say, you know what, I don't think he can beat some of these top guys. I get it if you say that. He struggled a little bit with MVP. MVP is a very tricky style who has shit grappling. Garry did what he needed to do. You know, I know the confidence is a little bit off-putting. I've always said that it's a little bit off-putting, but he did what he needed to do. I think people over complaining about how boring this fight was. I think people are acting, you know, all of a sudden also going to say Michael Venom Page is a bum. I don't think Michael Venom Page is that good. So I think it is a bad look that he struggled with him. But good fight IQ. Got it done. And he's 15-0. He's undefeated. And he wants Shavkat next. So if he fights Shavkat next and Shavkat's already accepted on Twitter and he beats Shavkat, you got to give this man his respect. I love that he's willing to take on any and all comers and wants the toughest matchup. So looking forward to seeing Garry versus Colby. Looking forward to seeing Garry versus Shavkat. Looking forward to seeing Garry versus Usman. I hope they book the Garry versus Covington fight. I hope Garry is able to coax Covington out of hiding, out of witness protection. Covington may have saw this performance and got a boost of confidence. Would love to see it. Michael Venom Page is kind of screwed right now. He's 37 going on 38, so kind of a tough loss for him, but he's not going to succeed against high-level grapplers in the welterweight division anyway. So Garry gets it done via unanimous decision. Next fight on the card, Macy Chiasson versus Mayra Bueno Silva. Honestly, arguably fight of the night. Banger while it lasted. Macy Chiasson gets a TKO win due to doctor stoppage in the second round. Battle war in the first round. Bueno Silva landing big shots. I think she landed a wheel kick, landing elbows in the clinch, landing knees to the body. Chiasson had some moments of her own. And it felt like Bueno Silva might have been fading towards the end of the first, but didn't. And yeah, I mean, I had Mayra Bueno Silva first round, had her win. I thought she did far more damage in the first round. Second round, Chiasson looks for a takedown, gets the takedown, and lands a filthy elbow that cuts open Mayra Bueno Silva. She hangs down there for a little bit. The blood's trickling in her eyes. She eventually stands up, starts kicking the legs a little bit, says let her up. Chris Tione calls in the doctor. Doctor's like, you can let her go if she thinks she's all right, but it is leaking in the eye and it's pretty bad. Then they go back and forth a little bit, and then the doctor's like, oh, no, I don't think she can fight. Mayra Bueno Silva's pissed the entire time. I wish they would have let it go and said, look, if it gets any worse, stop it. Let's get some petroleum jelly on that cut in between rounds, and then let's see. So Chiasson gets it done. You know, I don't know how much this really proves, but she looked decent. She looked decent. This was a good fight. I don't ever want to hear anyone complain about men's MMA again or women's MMA again. There's just as many bad men's MMA fights. It's just because there's less women fights. I guess the percentage is probably ultimately higher. But this was the best fight that wasn't a finish. I don't know. Yeah, I would say Diego Lopez, Dan Ige was decent. I don't know. It was a really good fight is what I'm trying to say here. I don't know if I'm too tired to debate whether or not that was the best fight. But it was a solid fight. It was a fun fight to watch while it lasted and end it with a filthy elbow from Macy Chiasson. She gets it done. She puts herself in title contention now. Mayra Bueno Silva's coming off a title shot. You got Juliana Pena. You got Raquel Pennington as the champ. You got Kayla Harrison. And now you got Macy Chiasson nipping up their heels. So we'll see how the division plays out. But yeah, this was a solid fight, and she gets it done via doctor stoppage TKO. Next fight on the card, and this is what inspired me to say, don't hate on women's MMA ever again. Roman Dolidze versus Anthony Smith. What to say? This was a shit fight. I hated this fight. They were trading leg kicks early, throwing lazy combinations. Dolidze clearly won the first round. Dolidze won via unanimous decision. I think he won all 3 rounds. Second round, Dolidze tagged him on the feet. Smith ends up going to the ground. I'm not even sure if it was a takedown or he took a knee. Smith just stays there. Just stays there on a knee. Doesn't move at all. Looking like a dead corpse. Getting beat up by Dolidze. Not moving at all. Complete embarrassment. Didn't move at all. Finally got up like the last 30 seconds. Finally decided, oh, you know what? Instead of sitting here for 4 minutes now and saying, oh, yeah, pound me from the back, Dolidze. That's what happened. Dolidze was kind of hanging over his back, punching him. He's done this before against Johnny Walker. He's done it again. He did it again against Magomed Ankalaev. Now, Magomed Ankalaev, he was injured. So I kind of give him an excuse for that. He did it against Johnny Walker. But he's getting pounded from the back. Pause. And he's begging for it. He's asking for it. And then he finally gets up with 30 seconds. He ate a almost illegal knee. I don't know how Dolidze timed it. Anthony Smith's one knee was just barely up. And he timed a perfectly legal knee on replay. It's like a centimeter off the ground. And then the third round, dog shit round. Dolidze clearly won. Smith is a dead body. Never want to see him fight again. Dolidze's now going to be ranked in light heavyweight. So that goes to show you how shit light heavyweight is. But Dolidze gets a win, unanimous decision win. Next fight on the card, co-main event. We have Diego Lopes versus Dan Ige. How is this even possible? Wait, what? Imagine you're waking up and you're just watching this and you have no idea what happened at the card. Yeah, Dan Ige stepped in on like 2 hours notice. Brian Ortega was sick. If you watched my pre-fight press conference breakdown, if you watched it, I said, look, Ortega doesn't look right. Ortega does not look right. I talked about it last night. Got moved to 55, and then it got canceled. Diego Lopes accepts a catch weight against Dan Ige. I hated this. I hate short notice fights. I talk about it all the time. This is a super short notice fight with minimum upside for Diego Lopes, and Diego Lopes is has a lot of hype behind him. He's a hot prospect right now. Damn near lost his fight. Won the first round, throwing big flurries, landing a lot on the arms. Ige's like landing one shot on the end. Lopes landed some good uppercuts. Ige shot a late takedown, almost got darsed, almost got guillotined. Lopes clearly won the first round. Lopes starting to slow down in the second. Clearly slowing down in the second. Landed some shots, landed some leg kicks mainly, not throwing as much like flurries where he's rushing forward. Head kick from Ige. Ige gets taken down, gives up his back. And you have Lopes looking for the rear naked choke. Ige's throwing some shots behind his head, some of the most powerful shots while having your back taken I've ever seen. And then the third round, Lopes slows down and is getting dominated, getting walked down. He landed like one good leg kick that kind of threw Ige off his feet a little bit, like was a little bit, tentative on it. Lopes shooting desperation takedowns, getting stuffed badly. Ige walking him down, throwing big shots, landing big shots. Eventually kind of hurts him on the feet. And got a takedown. I don't think he went down from shots. I'm trying to remember. I think he got a takedown right after. No, I think he kind of hurt him and he went down. Diego Lopes went down. Or Diego was looking for a takedown. I don't remember exactly. But Ige hurts him and then they end up on the ground. Ige shouldn't have followed him down there, man. He shouldn't have followed him down there. He should have told him wave him right back up. Should have waved him right back up. Goes down in guard, starts landing, smashing him with elbows, but there's 30 seconds left. Lopes is just holding on for dear life, praying to survive to the final bell. Ige smashing him and bashing him with elbows. I thought another maybe 20 seconds of elbows, 30 seconds of elbows, it's a 10-8 round. But Lopes minimized the damage enough where he was able to survive. And he wins 29-28. Now he says he wants to fight in the Sphere. So does Dan Ige. Shout out to both of these guys for taking on short notice. But what does it do for Lopes at 165-pound catch weight? It doesn't mean anything. And now people are going to say he got exposed. I don't buy into that narrative at all. Dan Ige's really good. And also this is a 2-hour fight notice. So it doesn't mean anything. I say rebook them both for the Sphere. Let's watch them fight again. I know people are going to say, what, Joey? Yeah, book them both on a full camp. And Diego Lopes took this fight on 2 weeks' notice against Brian Ortega to begin with. So Diego Lopes wasn't in fight shape. He looks sickly at the press conference as well. But he gets it done. He toughs it out and gets it done via unanimous decision, which was my pick, by the way. For everyone comment on my videos, Joe, you have the worst predictions. I think I went 9-12 tonight. I don't know. I'm trying to remember. Or 9-13. I don't remember how many fights there were. But either way, I picked Diego Lopes via decision in case you weren't joining me for my live stream earlier. Next fight on the card, main event, Alex Pereira, Jiri Prochazka. I broke this down in depth on my channel. I'll link it down in the description if you want to go check it out. Alex Pereira wins via second round head kick KO, but not really. He won via left hook KO in the first round. And I'll tell you why. Pereira landed a nasty left hook at the end of the first round, literally 1 second left. Jiri was done from that point on. He didn't recover in between rounds. He comes out. He stands there with his hands down like a total NPC. Pereira never even set it up. Threw a head kick like he was throwing it at a heavy bag and starched out Procházka. Could have been stopped right away. Herb Dean gave Jiri every chance to survive. Pereira follows him down, lands a good hammer fist. Jiri starts scrambling to his knees. Pereira just slinging heavy ground and pound shots. Herb finally steps in. Great win from Pereira. What a savage Pereira is. Imagine defending your belt on 2 weeks' notice against a wild man like Jiri Prochazka and going out there and making it look easy. The first round, dominant round from Pereira, chopping the legs, landed 3 really good left hooks, including the one that dropped him at the end of the round. Procházka landed like a couple leg kicks, maybe one shot as Pereira's backing up. And what's crazy is the left hook that dropped Procházka, he was pressuring him. Pereira was like backing up, standing up tall, chin up, and just clips him with that left hook and puts Jiri down bad. He was hurt bad. As the ref stepped in, Yuri's like waving him to come in and grapple because I think Jiri thought the fight was stopped and was like pissed the fight was stopped. He had no idea where he was in round 2 and got slept badly. I'm depressed though. Is Yuri's career over now? He got finished 2 straight times. I don't know. He took it on short notice. No matter what, and I know people are, for some reason people fetishize me somehow hating Alex Pereira. I'll say it right now. Alex Pereira, top 5 favorite fighter in the UFC right now. Willing to fight any and all comers. Super active. aesthetically pleasing fight style, elite as they come. Okay? So let's just clear that up right away. You know, I know there's some people projecting if you have any criticism of a fighter, you automatically hate that fighter because that's how a lot of fans act. Great win from Pereira. If Pereira would have lost, I'd be saying the same thing. It sucks. It was on short notice. Now we got to run it back. I feel for Jiri. He is 31 and Pereira's 36 going on 37 soon. So maybe once Pereira's gone, maybe Jiri can still become champ, but it's just tough, man. Jiri doesn't have a style that's conducive to longevity. It just doesn't. And I'm worried now that Pereira might have took his chin. So Pereira gets it done. Leg kicks look phenomenal. Why isn't Jiri grappling? He clinched up in the first round, never really spammed a takedown, had about a minute of control. Pereira was landing good, dirty boxing shots. That was it. Why are you not looking to exploit his grappling hole? I don't get it. I'm beginning to think Pereira has dark magic, shamanistic magic. He's casting a spell on these light heavyweights not to grapple. Dude mean KO Jamal Hill because Jamal Hill didn't want to try to grapple. Finish Jiri twice on the feet because Jiri doesn't want to grapple. And now he finishes Jiri in the second round. I don't know where Jiri goes from here. Pereira, Joe Rogan is fetishizing a move to heavyweight. That makes absolutely no sense. I broke this down more in depth in my main video, so I'm not going to talk about it too much. John Jones isn't fighting Stipe till November. Tom Aspinall's fighting soon, but if Tom wins and Jones wins, Tom's going to wait for Jones to see if Jones retires, and then we're going to have Pereira sit around. Pereira says he wants to stay active. Pereira wants to make money. According to Dana White, Pereira wants to turn around and come back rather quickly. The only fight to make is the Magomed Ankalaev fight. Alex Pereira, Magomed Ankalaev is a banger. I know a lot of people don't want to see Ankalaev win because, or fight because he's Dagestani. That is the fight to make. And Pereira showed interest in that fight and says he wants to test his grappling. What's crazy is Ankalaev has really good striking, but has decent grappling as well that'll probably mix in, or he should mix in, even though he said he's going to strike with Pereira. That's the fight to make. If he beats Magomed, that's like his third title defense. I would say that and maybe one more, and then he can move up to heavyweight. Unless, like, I just don't know. It just requires a lot of waiting around for Pereira if he wants to move up to heavyweight. And I'm telling you right now, Jones beats Stipe. Jones is going to push for the Pereira fight because he sees the holes in Pereira's game. He thinks it's an easier matchup. And, like, we're going to get that. I mean, don't get me wrong. That's kind of a banger. But I'd much rather see Jones versus, Aspinall. That makes way more sense. So I don't want Pereira sitting around waiting for a heavyweight fight that may or may not happen. Jones may retire anyway, but I'm scared. I think Jones might beat Stipe and push for Pereira, and then Tom Aspinall's left waiting on the sidelines again. Absolutely do not want that. The only way I want to see Pereira fight for the heavyweight title is if Jones is definitely going to retire and they elevate Tom, but still that would require waiting, elevating Tom Aspinall. So no matter what, Pereira, Ankalaev next, because they had to elevate Tom Aspinall, but that wouldn't happen until at least November, and then Pereira can fight for the heavyweight title next year. Because the light heavyweight division isn't super stacked anyway, so once he beats Ankalaev, there's not like a pressing contender right this second. And Pereira's not young, so I don't want him sitting around wasting what time he has left, waiting for a heavyweight fight that may never come to fruition. But great win, brutal KO. I'm sad for Jiri Prochazka, but two absolute savages stepping in on short notice to fight for a title. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video if you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for watching.